Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star 2 episode number 140 based on novel. So let's start. Emperor Qing looked at Luo Feng with a serious expression and asked, "Brother Luo Feng, since we are going out hunting together this time, we will inevitably need to cooperate closely. Therefore, it is necessary to understand each other's strengths. I practice the great Tao of space, and my most proficient skill is using sword formations to trap and kill enemies." Luo Feng, with a calm expression, responded, "I specialize in close combat. The great Tao of life and death, with its core being the transformation between life and death, naturally lends itself to close combat." Having reached the ultimate realm of the great Tao of life and death, Luo Feng's strength was comparable to that of an early-stage god emperor who followed an ordinary path. Just by relying on this path of life and death, Luo Feng already possessed the strength of an early-stage god emperor who had comprehended the Tao. Moreover, he also had 5 powerful clones, which further elevated his strength. Even those early-stage god emperors who focused on body refinement, no matter how strong their physical bodies were, could hardly possess the 5 unique talents that Luo Feng had. Ha ha ha, wonderful. I'll handle the formations, and you'll take charge of close combat. This is a perfect match. Emperor Qing was overjoyed upon hearing this. Among cultivators, very few chose close combat as their fighting style, as their targets were the innate chaotic origin life forms. These innate chaotic origin life forms all possessed formidable life forces and exceptional talents. However, I am currently lacking a suitable weapon. Luo Feng frowned and expressed his concern. "Let's go, I'll accompany you to pick one," Emperor Qing said without hesitation, even secretly deciding that if Luo Feng didn't have enough chaotic origin crystals, he could lend him some. A short while later, Luo Feng and Emperor Qing arrived at a shop in the inner city of Yulon City. When Luo Feng first arrived in Yulon City, he had already explored the entire city and had a relatively clear understanding of the weapons and treasures available here. "I'll take this pair of gloves." Luo Feng immediately took a liking to a pair of black gloves, his eyes revealing a hint of delight. This is a set of treasure gloves forged by Crescent Tao Lord in his early days, containing the mysteries of both the path of life and destruction. The combination of life and destruction makes their power extremely terrifying, the attendant nearby quickly explained. Now, Crescent Tao Lord is one of the peak existences in the dark sacred world. He pushed both the path of life and destruction to the half-step chaotic origin level. Luo Feng had already heard about these details during his previous visit. Crescent Tao Lord was an extremely terrifying Tao comprehender, having reached the half-step chaotic origin level in both paths, making his strength far superior to that of the ancestors of the 2 kingdoms. "How much?" Emperor Qing urged impatiently from the side. 105,000 chaotic origin crystals, the attendant replied with a smile. "Lower the price." Luo Feng began to bargain. In the 9 Rivers sacred world, apart from a few items with fixed prices, many treasures were open to negotiation. Although these gloves were powerful, they were only suitable for a very limited group of people. Only someone like Luo Feng, who cultivated both the paths life and destruction, would be interested in them. "I'll go ask the shop owner." The attendant, seeing Luo Feng's interest in purchasing, immediately went to report to the owner. Shortly after, the owner personally came to negotiate with them. After a fierce round of bargaining, the 2 sides finally settled on a price of 98,000 chaotic origin crystals. Luo Feng happily accepted the pair of gloves. These gloves were personally forged by Crescent Tao Lord for his disciples when he was at the late-stage God Emperor level in both paths of life and destruction. At that time, Crescent Tao Lord held a relatively high status in the 9 Rivers sacred world. It was worth noting that reaching the late-stage God Emperor level in a single path in Yulon City would grant one the hope of becoming an elder in the Elder Hall. Although Crescent Tao Lord was only an elder in the Elder Hall at that time, his strength was almost comparable to that of the Hall Master. What a treasure! Luo Feng, after refining the gloves with a single thought and sensing the profound combination of life and destruction within them, immediately became fond of them. Late-stage God Emperor treasures are generally not too expensive. But if it reaches the God Emperor perfection level, even the cheapest would cost over 1 million chaotic origin crystals, Emperor Qing said with a smile. You got a great deal with these gloves. Luo Feng nodded in agreement. Previously, Luo Feng had spent over 190,000 chaotic origin crystals on resources, and now he had spent another 98,000 chaotic origin crystals on these treasure gloves. As a result, he was left with very few chaotic origin crystals. In the cave residence, Emperor Fu looked at Emperor Ming with concern and asked, "Emperor Ming, are you really planning to go out hunting? I've been in Yulon City for so long and have met many cultivators who cultivate chaotic origin bloodlines." Emperor Ming nodded and said, "There are many cultivators in Yulon City who have reached the early stage God Emperor level through chaotic origin bloodlines. Dozens of early stage God Emperor chaotic origin bloodline cultivators working together still have a chance to kill the weakest low-level chaotic origin life forms. But there's also a possibility of death." Emperor Fu looked at his companion, his eyes filled with worry. Emperor Ming smiled lightly and reassured him, "Don't worry." He actually had his own secret trump card. Although he didn't have the ability to create clones, he had received rewards related to mental willpower in the infinite space treasury and had also helped the Flame Wind Ancestor exchange for treasures. Back then, what he had asked the Ancestor for were life-saving treasures. The Flame Wind Ancestor had found him two of the most top-tier life-saving treasures, both of which could merge with his soul and activate in the face of a life-threatening crisis. Additionally, Emperor Ming himself had exchanged for another life-saving treasure in the infinite space treasury. He knew very well that since he didn't have the ability to create clones, the importance of life-saving measures had to be his top priority, while other aspects could be accumulated over time. Cultivation on this path does not allow for retreat. Emperor Ming's eyes were firm, his determination set. Having been in Yulon City for nearly 100 eras, he had observed for a long time and concluded that almost all the strong individuals who rose to prominence did so through battles with low-level chaotic origin life forms. "Emperor Ming, since you've decided to go out hunting, you must choose your teammates carefully," Emperor Fu reminded him. Emperor Ming also understood the importance of selecting teammates. Outside the city, without the constraints of rules, anything could happen. The reason he had delayed going out until now was that he had been patiently searching for suitable teammates. This was also why Emperor Qing had been so delighted when he discovered the Milky Way Kingdom Lord. A trustworthy and sufficiently strong companion was truly rare. After purchasing the treasure gloves, Luo Feng spent over 100 days familiarizing himself with the treasure before quietly setting off with Emperor Qing and leaving Yulon City. Outside Yulon City, a black flying boat instantly concealed itself, becoming nearly impossible to detect with the naked eye. Inside this black flying boat were Luo Feng and Emperor Qing. This was the most powerful flying boat Emperor Qing owned, with extremely strong concealment capabilities. With our combined strength, our main hunting targets will be early-stage God Emperor level chaotic origin life forms. Although we are not afraid middle-stage God Emperor level of chaotic origin life forms, killing them would be very difficult, Emperor Qing analyzed for Luo Feng. From the surface, it's hard to accurately judge the strength of low-level chaotic origin life forms, Luo Feng expressed some concern. That's where experience comes into play, Emperor Qing smiled and said. We'll work together to assess them. Luo Feng nodded in agreement. Now that we're outside the city, we need to be careful and observe our surroundings, Emperor Qing reminded him. We need to be wary not only of low-level chaotic origin life forms but also of other cultivators. I understand, Luo Feng said, as a third eye slowly opened between his eyebrows, the eye of life and death. The area within hundreds of millions of kilometers around him was under his observation, and even the residual traces of time and space from the past were visible to him. Auras, traces of time and space, fluctuations, and residual wills, Luo Feng carefully observed everything around him. Emperor Qing also used his treasures to probe the surroundings in the void. We are currently approaching one of the 9 rivers, the Cold Ice River. The 9 rivers are home to countless low-level chaotic origin life forms, and the closer we get, the more likely we are to encounter them, Emperor Qing said. Early-stage God Emperor low-level chaotic origin life forms are the most numerous, making up over 90% of the total population. The stronger the low-level chaotic origin life form, the rarer it is. So, the probability of encountering an extremely strong low-level chaotic origin life form is still quite low. Emperor Qing appeared quite relaxed, as he had rich hunting experience. In the past, when hunting with other companions, Emperor Qing had to be constantly on guard against them. But this time, with Luo Feng, he felt much more at ease. Both of them had clones in the origin continent, and without an overwhelming temptation, it was impossible for them to betray each other. Amidst the laughter and conversation along the way, Luo Feng suddenly fell silent, his gaze fixed on the distance. The eye of life and death between his eyebrows had already spotted a massive creature, a large, winged beast cautiously concealed in the void far away. It had a pair of sharp claws, wings that were slightly larger than its body, and a triangular head with 3 faces, coldly observing its surroundings. The scales on its wings were grey, exuding an aura of death. Just by looking at it, one could sense a wave of death. Three-faced grey-winged beast, Luo Feng said with a serious expression. Judging from its size, aura, and energy fluctuations, it should still be at the early-stage God-Emperor level. As he spoke, Luo Feng waved his hand, and a phantom map appeared beside him, marking the location of the low-level chaotic origin life form. Oh! Emperor Qing carefully maneuvered the black flying boat closer. Finally, he also spotted the low-level chaotic origin life form. I also think it's at the early-stage God-Emperor level, Emperor Qing judged based on his experience. Brother Emperor Qing, I'll make the first move to test it, Luo Feng said, his eyes gleaming with fighting spirit. I've never fought a low-level chaotic origin life form before. Emperor Qing nodded with a smile, all right, if you can't handle it, I'll step in. He also wanted to take this opportunity to observe Luo Feng's strength. Suddenly, a white robe appeared on Luo Feng's body, formed by his Skylight clone. Among his 5 clones, the Skylight clone was the most resilient, making it more suitable as armor than purchasing a treasure armor. Treasure armor could recover from minor damage, but once severely damaged, restoring the intricate patterns would be extremely difficult. In contrast, the robe formed by the Skylight clone could quickly recover even if heavily damaged, as energy flowed through it. Let's go. With a thought, Luo Feng instantly entered the future timeline. Among cultivators, many could enter the past timeline, but few could enter the future timeline. This was also a manifestation of the time clone's ability. Brother Luo Feng can traverse other timelines, Emperor Qing thought to himself, marveling at the sight. The 3-faced grey-winged beast was hidden in the void, its 3 faces coldly observing its surroundings. Its slender, thread-like tail swayed slowly as it patiently waited. It knew that cultivators often approached the direction of the cold ice river, and that was its chance to ambush. Devour the cultivators, it thought with longing. The more cultivators it devoured, the more rewards it would receive from the heavens, and it would grow stronger. Perhaps one day, it might even leave this world. Boom! Suddenly, a vast world projection descended, directly suppressing the 3-faced grey-winged beast. Cultivators who comprehended the Tao would experience an enhancement in their mental willpower. For instance, Emperor Qing and the Lord of 10,000 Realms only achieved a mental willpower breakthrough to the God-Emperor stage after reaching the ultimate realm. Luo Feng, having reached the ultimate realm in the path of life, destruction, and the life and death, had gained even more significant enhancements to his mental willpower. Especially the comprehension of the great Tao of life and death had been the most beneficial to him. Luo Feng's world clone now possessed 300 times energy reserve of the perfect divine body, which his mental willpower could easily control. Naturally, the power of his world projection was also extremely formidable. Heaven and earth merge into one. At this moment, Luo Feng's heaven and earth clone merged with the vast surrounding heavens and earth, as if heavens and earth had become a domain under his control. Controlling the world. World projection. Both worked together to suppress and restrain the 3-faced grey-winged beast. There's a cultivator. The 3-faced grey-winged beast was both shocked and furious. Its wings flapped violently as it tried to break free from the suppression, but the force was too strong. It felt as though it could only exert 60 to 70% of its strength. This is bad, it thought to itself. Forbidden technique, Heaven's destruction spell. Lai Yuan technique. At this moment, Luo Feng's causality clone unleashed one of the forbidden techniques he had created after fully comprehending the great Tao of life and death, the Heaven's destruction spell. This technique consumed a significant amount of energy but was also incredibly powerful. As the curse descended, Luo Feng's world clone also unleashed the Lai Yuan technique. The three-faced grey-winged beast saw a massive star rolling toward it, crushing its will. Boom! As a low-level chaotic origin life form, being that had escaped the shackles of the mundane, its soul, body, and vitality were all terrifyingly resilient. Simultaneously struck by the Heaven's Destruction spell and the Lai Yuan technique, the three-faced grey-winged beast felt dazed, its consciousness slowing down significantly. At this very moment, clad in the white robe, Luo Feng, whose towering figure was about one-third the size of the three-faced grey-winged beast, suddenly appeared before it. In the instant he appeared, Luo Feng's massive hands wearing secret treasure gloves were like sharp claws, containing the mystery of life and death, and pierced through the chest of the three-faced grey-winged beast. Each of Luo Feng's fingers was like a sharp blade, with an aura of life and death swirling around him, exuding an unparalleled sharpness. His hands suddenly pierced through the scales, skin, and flesh layers on the chest of the three-faced grey-winged beast. Immediately after, he forcefully pulled his hands downward, instantly enlarging the wound, causing purple blood to gush out like a fountain. The toughness of these scales and flesh is beyond imagination, Luo Feng thought to himself, feeling a significant resistance as he used his secret treasure gloves to tear open the wound. He was secretly grateful. Thanks to his use of forbidden techniques and the Lai Yuan technique, the three-faced grey-winged beast was caught off guard, allowing him to land this full-powered strike and achieve such a result. The severely wounded three-faced grey-winged beast instantly regained consciousness, completely ignoring the terrifying wound on its chest. The face on its front suddenly opened its bloody maw, and a grey beam of light shot toward Luo Feng. Go! Luo Feng's body suddenly shrank, transforming into a streak of light that swiftly darted into the massive wound on the beast's chest and abdomen, burrowing into its body. The grey beam of light merely grazed Luo Feng's back, and in that instant, part of his robe and a small portion of the flesh on his back disappeared, but in the blink of an eye, they were restored to their original state. The power of this grey beam is no joke, Luo Feng thought as he entered the beast's body. He immediately felt the surrounding flesh and blood pressing in like a tidal wave. The purple blood, which had a greyish glow, was highly corrosive and began to erode the white robe on Luo Feng's body. This white robe was formed from his skylight clone, and although it quickly sustained many injuries, it was also rapidly healing. Where is the life core? Luo Feng's claws tore through more flesh and bones as he burrowed deeper into the beast's body. Roar! The three-faced grey-winged beast, feeling a cultivator wreaking havoc inside its body, let out a painful roar. Inside the distant black flying vessel, Emperor Qing watched the battle clearly. Brother Luo Feng's strength is truly astonishing, Emperor Qing thought, filled with amazement. Everyone knew that even a low-level chaotic origin life form at the early stage of the God-Emperor realm possessed an incredibly robust physical body. Yet, Luo Feng was able to confront it head-on and even gain the upper hand. In just one encounter, he tore open the chest and abdomen of the three-faced grey-winged beast and even burrowed inside. Truly ferocious, Emperor Qing thought, feeling delighted. The more ferocious a close combat expert was, the more effective they would be in battle. However, low-level chaotic origin life forms aren't so easily killed, Emperor Qing thought, his experience telling him how troublesome the three-faced grey-winged beast could be. The hunting teams of Yulon City usually only allowed those with the strength of early-stage God-Emperor Dao comprehenders to join, and a team often required 3 to 5 members working together. Trying to kill a low-level chaotic origin life form one-on-one was as difficult as reaching the heavens. The reason Emperor Qing dared to bring Luo Feng along for the hunt was that he himself was incredibly powerful, having already stepped into the mid-stage God-Emperor realm. Luo Feng, while resisting the corrosive blood, searched throughout the beast's body for its life core. Suddenly, the three-faced grey-winged beast's eyes turned cold, and it silently transformed into a vast grey mist, shifting from a flesh and blood form to a mist form. In this state, its defensive toughness and explosive power were reduced, but its survivability, escapability, and ambush capabilities were greatly enhanced. In an instant, Luo Feng was surrounded by endless grey mist on all sides. The corrosive nature of this grey mist was even more terrifying than the blood. The white robe on Luo Feng's body quickly began to tatter, but the robe's tenacious vitality allowed it to continuously repair itself. Thud. 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 Sharp claws suddenly emerged from the grey mist, launching continuous attacks at Luo Feng's chest, back, and legs. Several times, the claws even tore through the white robe. However, with the energy reserves of his world clone, which was 300 times that of a normal body, Luo Feng's thick skin and sturdy flesh meant these attacks only caused minor injuries. The wounds from the claw strikes healed almost instantly. This cultivator's physical body is even more troublesome than mine, the massive grey mist thought in shock. Its claws, after tearing through the white robe and thick skin, could only barely scratch a small amount of Luo Feng's flesh. And with the world clone's regenerative abilities, those wounds healed in the blink of an eye. It was said that low-level chaotic origin life forms had robust physical bodies and immense vitality, but now it realized that this cultivator surpassed it in both physical toughness and vitality. His techniques were more profound, and he possessed powerful secret treasures. How could it fight such an opponent? Escape. The three-faced grey-winged beast no longer wished to continue the fight. The massive grey mist swiftly fled into the distance. Trying to escape? Take this forbidden technique, world in the palm. Luo Feng's mind stirred, and his heaven and earth clone, merged with the vast world domain around him, instantly unleashed the forbidden technique. This was a technique Luo Feng had created based on the heaven and earth clone's innate abilities, rooted in the great Tao of life and death, and modeled after the innate secret treasure, world in the palm. This forbidden technique was composed of 8 ultimate-level secret methods of the great Tao of life and death, making it most suitable for the heaven and earth clone to execute. Boom! A massive illusory hand appeared out of thin air, and within the palm of this hand was a world. The grey mist was now trapped within this world in the palm. Under the suppression of the world in the palm, the endless grey mist's speed of escape grew slower and slower. The endless grey mist sensed the danger and immediately split into 9 parts, with 9 streams of mist frantically fleeing in all directions. Forbidden move, Time Walker. The time clone attacked simultaneously from the past, present, and future, and the power of the forbidden move instantly annihilated one stream of mist. After splitting into 9, although the grey mist was more conducive to escape, the combat strength of each individual stream was greatly reduced, making it impossible to withstand the forbidden technique of the great Tao of life and death executed by Luo Feng's time clone. It was as if they were being taken down one by one, or perhaps they were all attacked simultaneously. Out of the 9 grey mists, 7 were struck by Luo Feng's time clone. When the 7th mist dissipated, a spinning flesh ball appeared before his eyes. Life core. Luo Feng's eyes lit up, he had finally found it. This life core was the true heart of the entire low-level chaotic origin life form, hidden within the 7th mist all along. Although the forbidden technique of Luo Feng's time clone had affected the life core, it failed to break it open. Destroy. The towering world clone, aided by the world in the palm, took a single step and caught up to the life core flesh ball. Luo Feng's right hand shot out like lightning, his 5 fingers like 5 sharp blades. With the power of the treasure glove, there was no need to unleash any forbidden techniques. Simply activating the profound mysteries of the glove's patterns already surpassed the power of a forbidden technique. This was the advantage of treasures, they could greatly enhance a cultivator's strength. Nu? The fleeing flesh ball let out a shrill cry. Slash! Luo Feng's 5 blade-like fingers flashed past the flesh ball, leaving 3 gashes on its surface. At that moment, the fleeing grey mist came to a halt, naturally merging into one and transforming into a massive, scarred corpse of a 3-winged grey beast, which crashed to the ground with a force that caused the earth to tremble slightly. Luo Feng let out a sigh of relief, a smile spreading across his face. Finally, I've killed this low-level chaotic origin life form. Luo Feng descended, looking at the massive corpse of the 3-winged grey beast before him, his heart filled with emotion. This time, he had truly given it his all. He had started by casting spells and the Lai Yuan technique, or else the battle would have been even more troublesome. The complete great Tao of life and death, forbidden techniques specifically created for his causality clone, time clone, and world clone, all had been unleashed. Combined with the power of the treasure glove, he had finally managed to kill this weakest of low-level chaotic origin life forms. A low-level chaotic origin life form at the early God Emperor stage is just the weakest kind, yet it gave me so much trouble, Luo Feng thought to himself. At that moment, a black flying vessel appeared nearby, and Emperor Qing stepped out, looking at Luo Feng in disbelief. Brother Luo Feng, you just fought head-on and completely suppressed this low-level chaotic origin life form, Emperor Qing exclaimed in amazement. If the initial strike could still be considered a sneak attack, later on, when the three-winged grey beast transformed into its mist form and launched various assaults on Luo Feng's physical body, Luo Feng's world clone had effortlessly blocked them, clearly surpassing it in physical strength. And you killed it one-on-one, Emperor Qing couldn't help but add. Among early God Emperor stage Dao comprehenders, those who can kill a low-level chaotic origin life form one-on-one are extremely rare. Your strength is definitely among the top tier of early-stage God Emperor Dao comprehenders, Emperor Qing remarked with admiration. He had originally thought Luo Feng's strength was merely average for an early God Emperor stage Dao comprehender, especially after losing treasures like the 9-story tower, which might have weakened him further. But the strength Luo Feng had displayed this time far exceeded Emperor Qing's expectations, filling him with joy. Together, the two of them could handle more dangerous situations, and their hunting results would be even more bountiful. Low-level chaotic origin life forms have different talents. I just happened to counter this three-winged grey beast. If I encountered other low-level chaotic origin life forms, it would be hard to say. That's why we need to team up, Emperor Qing replied with a smile. Alright, let's quickly collect this prey. This is the first low-level chaotic origin life form you've hunted. Luo Feng nodded, looking at the massive corpse before him, his heart filled with emotion. This was the first low-level chaotic origin life form he had personally killed. Whoosh! Luo Feng waved his hand and stored the corpse. Since you hunted this low-level chaotic origin life form alone, it belongs to you, Emperor Qing said. Luo Feng shook his head. No need for that. We came out as a team, so we should follow our earlier agreement and split the prey equally. Earlier, Emperor Qing had proposed splitting the prey in half, intending to help Luo Feng. After all, Emperor Qing had been rooted in Yulon City for a long time and was far wealthier than Luo Feng, so he didn't mind giving up a bit of the spoils. But now Emperor Qing also realized that splitting the prey equally didn't mean Luo Feng was taking advantage. Although Emperor Qing's sword formations gave him an edge in explosive power, cultivators like Luo Feng, with their formidable physical strength and ability to engage low-level chaotic origin life forms in close combat, were highly sought after by hunting teams in Yulon City. Especially since most powerhouses across the myriad worlds lacked clone techniques and were willing to engage in close combat. Ha ha ha, alright, Emperor Qing said, no longer dwelling on it. He understood clearly that for the two of them as a team, the spoils from a single low-level chaotic origin life form were nothing significant. By the way, Brother Emperor Qing, how much is this low-level chaotic origin life form worth? Luo Feng asked. This is a low-level chaotic origin life form at the early God Emperor stage. Based on my experience, it's worth around 800,000 chaotic origin crystals, Emperor Qing replied. Luo Feng nodded. If it were a mid-God Emperor stage low-level chaotic origin life form, the price would be much higher. However, even if Luo Feng and Emperor Qing joined forces, they might only be able to suppress such a creature slightly, but the chances of killing it would be minuscule. Let's continue hunting, Emperor Qing said, his fighting spirit now soaring. He was already looking forward to the rewards of their first hunt together. This video will end here.